22 million black victims of Americanism are waking up, and they're gaining a new political consciousness, becoming politically mature. And as they develop this political maturity, they're able to see the recent trends in these political elections. Any minority that has a block of votes that stick together is in a strategic position. Either way you go, that's who gets it. You're in a position to determine who go to the White House and who stay in the doghouse. You're the one who has that power. You and I have never seen democracy. All we've seen is hypocrisy. Today, look around America. We see America not through the eyes of someone who has enjoyed the fruits of Americanism. We see America through the eyes of someone who has been the victim of Americanism. We don't see any American dream. We've experienced only the American nightmare. We haven't benefited from America's democracy. We've only suffered from America's hypocrisy. And the generation that's coming up now can see it and are not afraid to say it. And are not afraid to say it.
And are not afraid to say it. Welcome. You're tuned into Black Westchester Presents the People Before Politics radio show. I'm going dolo today. My partner, Damon K. Jones, is not with us. Is not going to be on the show today. Excuse me. So I'm just going to go through a few things real quick. Thank you for everybody for tuning in. Like, share, subscribe. So the first thing I wanted to go over, I just received an email, and I wanted to shed some light on this situation. So we have a candidate in Elmsford. I think his name is Matt Evans. He's running to become the first African-American mayor of Elmsford. And the League of Women Voters of the River Towns were going to do a candidate forum for the Elmsford mayoral election, which was March 18th. The Democratic challenger, Matt Evans, who I just spoke on, was going to make himself available for the 1-hour Zoom forum. However, the incumbent mayor, Republican Robert Williams, declined. He stated, and I quote, according to the League of Women Voters statement, "Thank you for the invitation to participate in the debate with my opponent. Unfortunately, I am quite busy with other commitments, so I will not be able to participate in this debate." The League of Women Voters, they have strict rules about a policy of nonpartisanship, and they cannot have a candidate forum with only one candidate. So the league regrets this important educational event for voters has been canceled. This is a lost opportunity for the public to hear directly from the candidates to address their own questions to them, stated Rivertowns League President Susan Maggiotti. I hope I didn't mess up your name too bad. We strive to run forums in a respectful, nonpartisan environment that encourages civil discourse and allows candidates to communicate with the people that are seeking to represent. So I just wanted to say straight up, first off and foremost, I think that's whack. I think it's not only disrespectful to the League of Women Voters who put these candidate forums on, I think it is disrespectful to the voters in the village of Elmsford. You know, when a candidate, especially a current elected official who's running for re-election, cannot make time to participate in these kind of events, it's very disturbing. He didn't say he couldn't make it that day. Can we reschedule it? He didn't say that day is not good for me. He just said he will not be able to participate because he is currently quite busy with other commitments. What other commitments are more important than addressing your electorate in an election that you want their vote for, especially when you're running for reelection? I bring this up not only for the obvious reason, we highlighted Matt Evans and endorsed him, and in his efforts to become the first African American mayor in Elmsford. But I always say when a candidate can't make time for the people, you need to keep that in mind when it comes time to cast your vote. I believe this is very disrespectful, and I wanted to call this out. It's not an attack on him because he's a Republican before anybody, goes there. But, you are the current mayor and you can't make time for a reputable organization like the League of Women Voters, who put these candidate forums together all through in the area, and they do a pretty good job. I commend them on the job that they do, keeping it nonpartisan, bringing the candidates before the electorate so that you can make informed decisions when it comes time to hit that ballot box. But for the current mayor to say he doesn't have time, that he is quite busy with other commitments, I think that's whack. And I hope that if you're in the Elmsford area, if you know someone in the Elmsford area, share this video. This is me, AJ Woodson, editor-in-chief of Black Westchester. I'm saying this. I have a problem with any candidates who cannot make who don't make time for candidate forums or debates. You just want people to vote for you, but you don't want to make time to give the people in these candidate forums. It's virtual, so you don't have to go nowhere. You can do it from the comfort of your home, your office, wherever. And it gives the voters a chance to ask questions that they might not normally get a chance to ask, that they might not get a chance because they may not come in contact with the candidate. So I think this is a very big missed opportunity. I think this is whack. And again, I wanted to call that out and shout to the League of Women Voters of the River Towns for the work that they do. And shame on you, Mayor Robert Williams, for not making time to participate in this candidate forum, especially with your election coming up in 2-3 weeks. I think it's very important. I think it's in poor taste. And I just wanted to call that out. So I'm going to move on. This week has been a very, very, very busy week. Wednesday, I believe it was Wednesday, former Congressman Jamal Bowman donated his congressional papers and I believe a collection of books to the Mount Vernon Public Library. They had a formal ceremony on Wednesday, very well attended from people all over the county. I think it's a good look. I'm not saying that this has never been done before. I doubt that it's been done in the city of Mount Vernon. And I don't hear often too many situations where congressmen are doing that in the area. Again, I don't know that it's never been done in the county, but it was a good look. So I wanted to lift that up, congratulate former Congressman Jamal Bowman for doing so. And I wait eagerly to see the Congressman Bowman collection at the Mount Vernon Public Library when they finally display the exhibit. Then let's see, Thursday, my brother Damon K. Jones spoke to the Mount Vernon branch of the NAACP for Black History Month, dealing with the history of the Black community in the police department, and address some issues like the current the DOJ investigation that just passed, and has some uplifting words for the people in the audience on what they can do and what they should do. You know, uh, to get involved in how their community is policed. Very good. I believe it was streamed on the Mount Vernon NAACP page. So you can go there and you can watch it for yourself. Definitely worth viewing. Shout out to my brother Damon K. Jones, who delivered a great presentation as always. Friday, we had talented comedian brought comedy to the Mount Vernon Public Library. Great, much needed in this time that we're going through all of these things. Laughter is very important. He brought, it's a free comedy show to the community. Mount Vernon AD, Mount V AD, Aaron Duncan, his running buddy he also performed, and a couple of other comedians were on the bill, and then a couple of comedians that weren't on the bill, that had been on Def Comedy Jam and other things, showed up just to represent for talent and hold it down. It was good. It was fun. I enjoyed that. That was Friday. Yesterday, I had a author talk at the Yonkers Riverfront Library on my book, We Got Our Own Thing. A look at hip hop from the 914. I gave, great presentation on, on the book and on hip hop, 914 hip hop. Shout out to my brother Carlton Dozier, who came all the way from Williamsburg, Brooklyn. Shout out to Al Bizarro, came from the Bronx, and everyone else who showed up. County legislator Shanae Williams showed up. We had a couple of people that couldn't stay the whole time, but she showed up, asked some questions, wrote a book. Yonkers NAACP president Keisha Skipper stopped through with her children. They were there. It was a great event. And the library invited me to come back in March for Women's Month to talk about my book on Black women. So I think we set the date for the 13th. I'll definitely have the flyers up on blackwestchester.com. What's a couple of the local stories that we did this week? Let me pull them up. So we had, Latino leaders were appalled at Congressman Lawler's, they call shocking comments in the New York Working Family Party Westchester Putnam chapter. Released a statement basically in response to Congressman Lawler's racist and xenophobic comments questioning legislator Jose Alvarado's citizenship. I watched it, the clip that was shared. In it, Congressman Lawler was talking to legislator Jose Alvarado and said, I don't know, are you a citizen? Which was very disrespectful. You cannot hold an elected position like the county legislator, if you are not a citizen. And in the time that we're going through right now with all the things going on the national level and the local level and the talk of immigration, a lot of people felt that was disrespectful. The Working Family Party statement: we strongly condemn Congressman Lawler's insensitive and shocking comments in the Westchester County Board of Legislative meeting. Clearly, the congressman believes in that the status of Latino is always under question. We doubt that Congressman Lawler will have questioned the immigration status of legislators who are not Hispanic, including 2 county legislators who immigrated from Europe. One must be a U.S. citizen to hold a public office in Westchester, something Congressman Lawler should know. More concerning than that, then his comments to the legislator Alvarado, as well as support for the Trump regime mass deportation agenda. Immigrants, families in the congressional District 17 and throughout the country are living in fear regardless of their immigration status. We believe that everyone residing in our country must be treated with respect and dignity. That you can read about in detail on Black Westchester. Other story we did, and I just spoke a little bit about it. Matt Evans attempts to make history as Elmsford's first Black mayor. In the last week or so, I don't think we did a show last week. I wasn't on last week. The Mount Vernon Democratic Committee held their convention. And in that, let me see, the candidates that were nominated are Mount Vernon City Council President Danielle Brown is the nominee for Mount Vernon City Court Judge. Former Mayor and City Council Member Andre Wallace. Former City Clerk Tanisha Walters. And Congresswoman Caitlin Gleason are the three City Council nominees. There were about 9 candidates running for City Council. At my last count, Nicole Lucio, Elvira Castillo, Leda Castillo, former Mount Vernon City School District Trustee Cynthia Turnquest Jones, former Mayor and City Councilman Andre Wallace, former Mount Vernon City Clerks George Brown and Tanisha Waters, former Mount Vernon Police Department PBA President Nicholas Mastro, and again, Councilwoman Caitlin Gleason, who's running for re-election. Mount Vernon Controller Darren Morton and County Legislators Terray Woodson Samuels and David Tubliolo are running for re-election unopposed. Candidates are collecting signatures between February 25th and April 3rd. So today, so as of Tuesday, you will start seeing people run up to you everywhere, at the supermarket, at the train station, and everywhere else, trying to get you to sign their petition so they can make the ballot for the June 24th Democratic primary. That's all as far as that story is concerned. Again, you can read much more about that on Black Westchester. Yonkers seems to have a big race with up to at least 8 people running for city council president. The current city council president, Lakeisha Collins Bellamy, is running for re-election. The former council president, Mike Cada, announced his candidacy. Who else? There's a handful. I have a list somewhere. I have to confirm all of the names, but so far I think there was 5 Democrats running in the Democratic primary and 3 Republicans running in the Republican primary for the just for the council president race. That's at least 9 candidates running in that race. We will be covering that a lot more. What else is going on? Again, you can read about all this stuff on Black Westchester. Thank you, whoever this is. Share love. Thank you for your comments. Anything that you, we have a guest coming on soon, but anything that you want, this is one of them chances where we don't have a guest and I'm here by myself. So if you want to ask a question, if you want me to comment or address a situation, put it in the comment section and I will gladly speak on it to the best of my ability. Below you see the banner. Those are ways that people always ask how they can make donations. Those are how you can make your donations, help keep the show free for the people, help keep the paper free for the people, and keep the website free. Um, what else is going on? What else is going on? David actually just posted a story earlier. Governor Wes Moore, who was the first African American governor of Maryland, and I believe the third black governor elected in the country, um, has been appointed to the U.S. Council of Governors by the president. It's a nonpartisan organization with, I think, 5 Republicans and 5 Democrats. So that's history. I mean, that's that you can read about. Um, what else is going on? Um, the first woman Latina commander of the National Guard 53rd Troop was honored recently. Oh, and before my guest is here, but before we get into that, shout out to our brother, former city council member, now New Rochelle City Court Judge Jared Rice. His father, Roger Rice, has passed, and there's a tribute to him on Black Westchester. Roger Rice was a giant in the community, the whole Rice family. His mom was the former city court judge. That family is incredible. But yeah, we have a tribute to Roger Rice on the website, and I encourage everybody to check that out as well. Um, Deborah, if you can hear me, if you're ready, give me a thumbs up. Okay, I'm about to bring you on. So um, that's it for the local recap of what's going on. And like I said, all the stories that I mentioned and much more are on blackwestchester.com. You can check daily. Please leave your comments and feedback at the bottom of the articles. Your feedback is very encouraged, and is encouraged and welcomed, even if you do not agree with the narrative and the story. We still want to hear from you. Our guest for today is Deborah Stern. I'm a co-founder of the Amani Charter School. If that is not the right title, I will let her tell you what it is. But she wants to come on, and we're going to talk to her about the expansion plan of Amani and some of the concerns that the community has about it. So welcome to the show, Deborah Stern.
Hi, AJ. Thank you so much.
How are you?
Good.
Did I get your title right, or?
Yeah, well, I'm co-founder with my husband, Charles Stern. Yes.
Yes.
So you, most importantly, got him right.
Yes. And you are
I'm the executive director.
Executive director.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So first, let's just jump right in. There is an expansion plan proposal,
Mm-hmm.
and I will let you explain what that is.
Sure.
What y'all are proposing? The expansion y'all are proposing.
Absolutely. So as you know, but the audience may not know, Amani Public Charter School has been in existence for 14 years, believe it or not, in Mount Vernon. We have been a 5th through 8th grade middle school, educating majority Mount Vernon students. We keep Mount Vernon families in the community. And starting in September, we are proposing and planning to expand so that we will become a K through 8 school. So we'll start in September, bringing in 2 classes of kindergartners and 2 classes of first graders, and then add on a grade every year until we become fully K-8 school in, I think it's 2028, with 554 students.
So with the expansion, would that be able to be done in the current building, or would you have to move to a bigger building?
So our building can hold the first year up to maybe the first 2 years, but our building is not big enough for the whole K-8 plan. But as a matter of fact, Charlie Stern, my husband, who's co-founder with me, is really working with folks now on the capital side of it. My dream, AJ, would be to expand on the block that we're at, because we're centrally located in Mount Vernon. So that makes it accessible to folks, particularly on the south side, particularly for some of the schools schools that might be closing in Mount Vernon. There's libraries there. It's a business section. I think there's some things happening with the Y, the Boys and Girls Club. So I really want to create this really child-centered, educationally focused community in that part of the neighborhood. I think it would be really positive for the health of the community. So I'm hoping that we can stay on the block and expand into some of the other buildings that are there.
So it wouldn't be Black Westchester if I don't ask you the tough questions.
Sure.
So there are mixed emotions, mixed feelings on the expansion plan one, where there's a group of people asking for a memorial or to hold off any expansion anytime soon. Right now, I think I said the word wrong.
A moratorium.
Moratorium. That's
That's
the correct word.
Yeah.
Yes, and there are some who feel, well, some who are against the whole public charter school system because it says it takes money from the public school system. And when we're hearing that the public school is losing money, they're not doing good, they have to close 3 schools. The timing of this is a lot of people are questioning. So I would like to give you a chance to speak about that.
Yeah. So we do not take money in a way that affects or impacts the current situation. As a matter of fact, an interesting statistic: there are 650. Don't grade me on the exact number, but there are roughly about 650 Mount Vernon residents that attend charter schools. When you attend a charter school, the state sets, they call it tuition for want of a better word. I don't know why. It's a political thing. The state sets the amount of money that child has to bring to the charter school. It's usually less money than what the per pupil allocation is for that municipality. In Mount Vernon, it's $18,000 per child. New York is a different price. Yonkers is different. New Rochelle's different. So the money attaches to the head of the child, and they take that to the charter school. So, and now the way that the system works, the school district that you come from transfers that money to the charter school. So in Mount Vernon, we have, I think it's about 260 Mount Vernon students who come to Amani. So Mount Vernon, you can do the math. I can't do the math, but times 18,000, we get that money. Now, would those students be in the public school and the district would get that money? Maybe, I don't know, because that is not necessarily the way that the schools are funded by students. Charter schools are funded like that, but the school districts aren't necessarily funded like that. Now, what happens is people have a choice to attend charter schools anywhere in New York State. 650 families have decided that they want to make a choice and send their children to charter schools outside of Mount Vernon. So I think about 150-ish so students go to Yonkers Charter School of Educational Excellence. There's another charter school in Mount Vernon, also in Delectus. And then there are random students that go to charter schools all over New York because we meet some of them. So those dollars walk out the door. As those dollars that are walking out the door causing these problems that the district is having now? Not at all. Not at all. So one of the things that I feel very comfortable about is that I want to create a community-based school that would keep families in the community and give people a choice, and then hopefully raise up the whole community. And I really feel that we're part of the educational ecosystem in Mount Vernon. We're not the enemy. We're not tearing anything down. We're not at cross purposes. We are just part of the educational ecosystem. And I don't think that the economic model, the financial model is not great. I wish the state would just send us the money directly. But that's not what's causing the problems in the Mount Vernon public schools.
But, I mean, there's still the argument that for every child that goes to the charter school actually takes the money out of the school district. And that's what the argument is being made.
So there's $8 million that comes to us from Mount Vernon School District. Actually, it's a little less. That's not the problem. The school district is like that $8 million. It's not, it's a drop in the bucket to the larger issues. Yeah. Now there's a lot more than admittedly, there's more than that money that's going to other charter schools. I don't know what the exact number is, but you can do the math, 600 times whatever. But parents need choice. And if those children didn't, if those children, I don't know if those children would go to a Mount Vernon public school. I think that one of the things that we have in Mount Vernon that you know full well, people are walking out to other school districts. They're going to private school. They're going to other schools. They're paying to go to school, and they're leaving the community. Now, money doesn't leave with them. I get it, whatever. But I really think it's important to keep families in the Mount Vernon school district, and then we're all part of the educational ecosystem, and it's just better all around. So I understand that people have concerns. I don't think that a moratorium on our growth is not going to really affect or impact Mount Vernon's issues.
So what's the difference between, because another thing they're saying they're having a problem with public charter schools as opposed to private charter schools.
So there are no private charter schools in New York State. All charter schools in New York are public. The law, the charter school law, does not allow for private charter schools. We're all public schools. We're public schools just like every other public school.
Okay. Is there do you pick and choose the students that can attend?
No.
Do you turn away? You know, what is the process?
How does it work?
Yeah. How does that work?
So the state says, okay, Amani Public Charter School, you can have right now 355 children in your building. That's it. The state said that. They, and so we take applications. People come walk in. I mean, the application is simple. What is your name and address, and do you live where do you live, and whatever. And then we take applications to fill the seats that we have open until we don't have any more seats open, and then we have a wait list. So we don't turn anybody away, but for lack of space.
Okay, the reason I asked because I did hear someone complain. Like, a lot of people have been hitting me with both sides of this, this situation, that y'all take the best of the students and turn away,
No, I don't know how would you qualify? How do you qualify or quantify who's the best? We don't test the kids. They walk to our front door like they walk to every front door of every school. So, and then, yeah.
There's a lot of emotional attachment with a lot of things as far as our schools.
Sure.
The proposed closing of Cecil Parker, named after the first African-American teacher, I believe.
I know, it's terrible.
And, people fighting the Library Square project because they're saying, oh, you're taking away our Y, which has not been in operation for over 12 years or better. So I'm trying to get to the heart of a lot of things. We actually have a question for you.
Oh, but let me just comment on that, AJ, because one of the things that I think me and our heart, and I really am supportive and public education, and particularly Mount Vernon public education. My children started their educational lives in Mount Vernon. I've lived around this community all my life. I only want to improve that and make it better. So, and then even I said earlier, I want to create a child-centered educational ecosystem in that part of Mount Vernon, capitalizing on the library, capitalizing whatever happens with the Y, capitalizing on the Boys and Girls Club, and then being sort of a part of the overall educational landscape. So that's really what a community-based charter school like mine is all about.
So I didn't write all these things down, so they're coming to my head.
Okay.
As I can remember.
Yeah.
So one of the other complaints I heard, I don't know, either you or your husband or both of y'all were on the Mount Vernon City School Board at one time.
Charlie was.
Okay, and voted against the increases of taxes, the zero tax, whatever, which is what some people say is another reason why the city is in the school district is in the situation it is, because everything goes up, and having a tax increase every year is an issue. And some have accused that, I don't know, being like a plan to kind of do whatever. Yeah. Because you were trying to build your own school.
I wish I was that smart. No, and I'm not going to answer. I'm not going to speak for Charlie. I don't remember. Listen, when he was on the Mount Vernon School Board, which again, only for the positive, Like we were, let me tell you a little bit about our background. I have been a proponent of educational equity for 100 years, for my whole life, for my family. When I grew up in New Rochelle, my family, I attended public schools in New Rochelle. My family is very actively involved with the closing of the schools in the central part of town. I don't know if you're familiar with that story, Mayflower
Yes,
School,
Lincoln
right?
Park.
Yeah, well, not Lincoln. Lincoln, no, I know that story very well.
Yes.
But then we moved to Mount Mayflower, and then they wanted to close that school in the Black community. And my parents were like, "Oh no, that's not going to be how we're going to roll." And so I've been like a sort of educational equity advocate since I was, a babe. Charlie just informed me and reminded me that he never voted against any tax increases. Never. You know what I'm saying? We were part of that, sort of involved in the educational system in Mount Vernon for the good. No evil plans or plots to like advantage ourselves or the Amani Public Charter School. It's just the opposite.
So someone, I don't know if you can answer this question, someone and their name, they're coming from YouTube, so their YouTube name is World of Money, so I don't know who the person is. Says, hello, Ms. Stern, would you please provide an email? We are interested in your financial education initiatives. Thank you.
Sure. So anybody can get in touch with me at dstern at amani.charter.org. I'm not sure what you might be talking about. I know that we recently had a speaker, Rich Holly. Actually, he came to me through our mutual friend Tracy Alexander. You know Tracy. I don't know if you met Rich Holly when he was at Cupcake Cutie Christmas New Year's Eve. So he came in to talk about the financial literacy with his books, and we're going to be actually introducing the curriculum into our program. So I'm not sure that's what that caller's asking about, but yeah, anybody can get in touch with me through the school, dstern@amani.charter.org.
Okay. Mm-hmm. The NAACP has recently taken, and I'm the vice president of I'm the vice president of Mount Vernon, but the NAACP has taken a position on charter schools, and including supporting stronger governance and transparency and advocating for the improvement of public schools. I don't know if you've seen, there was a statement, and then so I wanted to give you a chance to address that if you've seen the statement.
Sure, I saw it in your newspaper. So listen, the National NAACP has taken a stance against charter schools. That I get it. That's how they roll, and that's okay. I mean, it's not okay to me because listen, I really believe that we need educational equity is important. And right now, Black children in Mount Vernon don't have access to opportunities that people have in communities that surround them. And I really do believe that charter schools can provide those opportunities. So the NAACP believes something different, the national organization. And so then I get it. The local organization, of course, has to, kind of fall in line with that. That's okay. I understand. I don't really understand because I think if you know the history of or understand, to me, the history of Black education, to understand the development of Black education, understand the agency that Black people have had in terms of creating and supporting for ourselves and what that's all about and how that influences my work, then you probably wouldn't send that letter to me. But I understand that the national organization, they don't know me. So they have a perspective and I understand it. And that's everybody's right to do what they need to do. So I get it. It's okay.
So the where we're at now, I think there was I don't know if it was a town forum or whatever on the whole charter, the expansion proposal. Yeah. Actually on two proposals, yours and the other one that wants to decrease, I think.
So let me clarify that. Okay. So when you put an application in to do anything they're called, so we get a charter from the state and we're authorized by the Board of Regents. I'm sorry, by the New York State Board of Regents. If you do anything that's going to bring around what's called a material change in your charter, the New York State law requires that the local municipality has a public hearing. So last year, I had put in the application for to expand the school. But for whatever reasons, it was premature, and so it didn't go through last year, pulled by me, not by the state. But because of that was in place, then all the triggers come into place to have the public hearing. At the same time, Intellectus Prep had put in a material change to their charter to decrease their numbers from their lower program to, because they're a 6 through 12 school. So that was that public hearing. So actually, that was a little discrepancy in your article, because you were actually looking at last year's hearing. We had a hearing just a couple of weeks ago, again, just triggered by the law. And I think the NAACP's letter was in response to kind of the timing of that hearing related to this new material change that we're putting in for the charter to expand this year. Does that make sense? I'm sorry, it's complicated.
Yeah, actually, I ran the letter, and then I think I went and News 12 covered it, and I went and
they didn't cover this year's. They didn't cover this year's. They covered last year's.
Okay.
Yeah, because I was like, I didn't see News 12 at the hearing this year. So yeah, no, that was last year's.
So what does Amani offer? You said, parents need to have a choice. Mm-hmm. What does Amani offer that the school district doesn't? Why Amani over the school district?
Why would you come to Amani? Amani offers it's a smaller school. It's a small school. It's just a different option in town. We are intent on providing opportunities. That's what our school is all about. And so we make sure we have a robust after school program. We have a robust music and arts program. We have things like chess and other sort of opportunities for kids. What do we offer that the other school buildings don't offer? If you come in, I think that it probably doesn't look that different. I don't think. But I think it's just a choice for parents to be able to say, you know what? For years, AJ, the Mount Vernon Public Schools were lacking something. There's a reason. We didn't get this charter just for no reason, because people like Deborah Stern. That's not it. There's a need for strong educational options in Mount Vernon. Other people believe that, not just me. And so our school is an option for folks for that. You know what I'm saying? STEAM Academy is a great option. Denzel Washington is a great option. I'm sure there's great things happening in Parker too. So people have different choices in town, and maybe they want a smaller school. We have maybe somebody wants to participate in our arts programs. Maybe somebody just wants something different. It's just an option. When a lot of the reasons why I started the school, I don't know if I've ever had the chance. I don't think I've ever had a chance to tell you this story, but when we lived in Mount Vernon back in like the early aughts, our children went to public school in Mount Vernon, went to Lincoln School, and they also went to homeschool. And a lot of our friends didn't go to the public schools. And I thought that was a shame, because public schools, should be used by the public. You know what I mean? And so I wanted to create a public school option that people would want to go to and stay in the community. So
why a charter school as opposed to helping build up the Mount Vernon School District for what it lacked? Why create a charter school as opposed to?
Right. Yeah. So I was trying to build it up. My husband was on the school board. I was involved in the PTA. I was on the PTA council. We were active parents. At the time when I started the Amani, I didn't necessarily want to start a charter school, but I said, you know what? This community needs an option, and perhaps there are charter schools in the world, right? In the 2000s when we started Amani, 2010s, whatever. There's so many charter schools. I don't know if you remember, there were those stories, all these movies about charter schools, all this stuff. And you go and you're like, wow, there's this dynamic thing happening in like Harlem and the Bronx. Why can't this happen in Mount Vernon? Maybe this will spark something to happen in Mount Vernon, because many ships make the waves on many ships raise those ships up. I'm messing up that metaphor. And that's really all my intention is and was and continues to be, to do that. So
I think the expression, I'm looking it up too, because I can't think of it. A tide rises.
It'll come.
A tide A rising tide lifts all boats.
A rising tide lifts all boats, right? So my thing is, when you look and you see like Jeffrey Canada in Harlem and all these schools that are going to Harlem, and there's excitement around education, and it's gonna impact the general ecosystem, right? Why don't we do that in Mount Vernon? That's really what I'm all about. That's what I want to do, and then to provide choice for parents to stay in the community, to have a public school option to stay in the community.
Someone again from YouTube, so they have their YouTube name, not their real name.
Okay.
So Black students do better in charter schools in New York State than in regular public schools.
So that is a true commit. That is a true statistic. If you look at the numbers based on New York State exams and everything, students do better in charter schools. And listen, one of the things that I believe in really strongly is creating. So I don't know. People don't, you wouldn't know this about me, but I just wrote my doctoral dissertation all around sort of Black charter school educators and how we create schools and systems of Black excellence. And I believe in that really strongly. And I think that Black kids just do better in charter schools because they are in environments where they are not othered. They're sort of the ecosystem is built around them. And so they're just going to do better. That is why Mount Vernon should just be doing better, right? We have a buildings filled with Black and brown kids that should just be filled with Black excellence. What are we doing wrong? I worry about and think about that every day. But charter schools, I think, kind of do better because of those things that I just kind of mentioned, and then they do statistically do better than charter schools do a better job at providing positive outcomes for kids.
Is there any someone said I guess when we were naming schools they said there's also the Montford Academy as well.
Yeah, that's a private school though. That's a private school. That's up there by Peter and Paul up there Westchester Avenue. Yeah, it's a private school, Montford Academy.
Okay, so that's not a charter school.
No, no. I don't know how much the tuition is. I think it's reasonable, but it is a private school.
So you said tuition. So the parents are not charged tuition for Amani?
No, we are a public school.
Okay. What are some of the other things that you feel might be said or maybe misinformation about charter schools as a whole or Amani that you would like to clear up?
Sure. Well, I think the biggest misinformation is that my husband and I were engaged in nefarious tactics to make it better for us. It's so not the case. That's not how we are. That's not how we roll. That's not why we're here. So if we could just dispel that, put that to the side, be done with that. I know it never will be, but I just feel that's important to say. I think the myth is, just by the way, the tuition at Montfort Academy is $16,000. So
okay.
16,000. Yeah. So that's it. So the myth that charter schools are not public schools, we are public school like every other public school. The myth that there's not a high accountability, we probably have more accountability because here's the deal. When you get a charter, you get a 5-year contract in essence, right? Every 5 years, I have to be re-evaluated and you could be closed. Charter schools are closed because they don't perform. There are a few charter schools I can name them that started when I started and they're not around anymore. Public schools don't close, but charter schools can close. We have a high level of accountability, both financially and academically. So we have the same rules. We have to follow the same rules as the public schools. The New York State Board of, not the Board of Education, New York State Regents oversees our schools the same way they oversee every other public school in New York State. The New York State law, all those laws apply to us. So in that respect, there's not some magic voodoo happening. So
what so the process right now is the state Board of Education, I think, maybe has to vote on the proposed expansion for it to take place.
Yes, well, that not really. Yes, they vote. So because it's your regent, the charter comes from the regents, and then we're overseeing. The school is authorized by the New York State Education Department, and we have a charter. So when we make a change in the charter, so like asking to add K through 4 is a material change to the charter. So we have to go to our authorizer, which is New York State Education Department, and say we'd like to increase the grade span. And they ask a lot of questions about sort of why, what are your plans, how is that going to help your school, also how is that going to impact the financial impact of the district that you're in. And then the New York State Board, the New York State Education Department will then make a proposal to the Board of Regents to say yay or nay, Amani can be expand their school. So the Board of Regents are what is called our authorizers, and they sort of make decisions when there's big changes like that. So to get a charter or make changes to the charter.
So when does that vote or authorization take place?
Soon, I hope. So that the Board of Regents meets every month. So it's just really whenever they put our proposal before them. So hopefully before April. So
I was trying to get more people that come with questions because they asked me questions. I didn't really promote that you were going to be on, but you see,
that's okay.
you're getting praise. You're getting praise on here. Bravo to you and your team, Ms. Stern, in your vision and execution. It's a heavy lift to create a school. I love your small school approach. Parents should have choices.
Well, thank you, World of Money. I mean, I just want to say, and I'll come on anytime. I'm happy to, because I know that there are folks out in the world that do not like charter schools. I get it. I know there are folks in the world that don't like Deborah and Charlie Stern. That's fine. But I think it's important to sort of come out in the world to sort of share the story, because we're only for the good of the community. I have, like I said, there are 355. We have maybe actually 307 families in our building right now that come from this community. They're your neighbors. So, we've had thousands of kids who come through our building. They come back to our school. They went on to go to Mount Vernon High School, STEAM Academy, Denzel Washington. They're part of the educational ecosystem. So hopefully we've risen that tide, I hope. So, it's only good things.
I think I know the answer to this, but is a charter high school in the works for Mount Vernon or other Westchester County cities? Is SCCS the one in Yonkers? Didn't they go to high school?
Yeah. So the Charter School for Educational Excellence is a K-8 school, and part of their charter. So when they expanded to the 9th through 12th grade, they had to agree to take 50% of their students from outside of Yonkers, and so that's why there are quite a few Mount Vernon students that go there. Intellectus will be a 6th through 12 school, and then in New Rochelle, there's going to be a charter school that's going to be coming there in September. It's called Capital Prep, and they will be a K-12 school. So I think they're starting K and then 6th grade. So they'll be starting at both ends of the spectrum. So, and then there's another proposal for another charter school in New Rochelle. And that's all I know of for now. I mean, generally, when somebody is interested in starting a charter school, sometimes they come talk to me, not always, but definitely you get notices from the state. Like I get the same notice that the board gets, the Mount Vernon board gets to say, oh, there's new schools. So I haven't seen anything else beside those ones that I told you about, but I think Westchester is like a hot property, so there might be more.
Well, I know Carmen. I know Carmen from Yonkers. I know.
Oh yeah,
and I know I did book signing, speaking about my book to the kids or whatever.
Oh yeah, we had to have you in the money.
Oh, anytime.
Yeah.
And anyway, and I remember when there was the proposal of going to high school, there was conversations with y'all, because I know when she was telling me that she was having conversations with y'all about, I don't know, some of your kids when they age out to go to that school or something.
Yeah, well, that's a great thing for us, because again, more options for parents. Because listen, we have a high school fair every year, and at the high school fair, Mount Vernon High School comes, Denzel Washington comes, STEAM comes, and then about 10 or 12 private schools. Parents want those options, and Charter Schools for Educational Excellence comes as well. And so parents look at all the options. And so it's like like I said, part of the deal with the state, the authorizer for Yonkers, when they started their schools, you have to take 50% of your kids from outside of Yonkers. So that's a plus for our parents, because that's just another choice. and they provide busing. So listen, choice is
Oh, they
good,
do.
right? Yeah, they do. So choice is good, AJ. That's I think what you get a choice. You can have Shake Shack, you can have McDonald's, you can have Chick-fil-A. So choice is good.
I know, like I said, a lot of it is emotional, and a lot of people want to hold on to things.
Mhm.
So how doesn't the charter school hurt the public school system? How does it not hurt? Because that's the question that it takes away,
Yeah.
it hurts.
Yeah.
How does it not hurt?
So Amani Public Charter School has been around for 14 years. The Mount Vernon City School District has had probably 8 superintendents in that time. Probably. Turnover, inability to sign their teachers' contracts, dilapidated school buildings. That's not my fault. The $8 million that comes from Mount Vernon for the Amani Public Charter School, that's not going to make a difference to their problems. We're part of the educational ecosystem. I reach out to every superintendent. We work together. So when a student has an IEP, special ed, we work with the school district. They're still our committee on special education. It's like I said, they're all our children. So those problems are not my fault. They're not the fault of Amani Public Charter School. They're not the fault of the Charter School for Educational Excellence. They're not.
And I was going to ask this, but someone else just asked. Does Amani get students from the Bronx or other places in the county, or
Yes.
do you take students from Mount Vernon?
Here's a tricky thing about charter schools. We can take kids from anywhere, and the place they come from pays the bill. So if you have a child come from New Rochelle, we build New Rochelle. We don't build Mount Vernon. That's something that Mount Vernon can't do, because I know that people come from other places, and then you whatever. If we have kids, we have about 30 kids in the Bronx. We build the Bronx, and the Bronx pays us. We build Yonkers, and Yonkers pays us. And then we build Mount Vernon for the Mount Vernon students, and Mount Vernon pays us. And so there is our charter says that we are here for Mount Vernon students. That's first and foremost, because we want to create a school. I want to create a school for this community. But the charter school law says you have to take kids from anywhere. So the way it works, just a little inside baseball, is we take all Mount Vernon students first. And then if you're from the Bronx or other places, it's all like numbers, like the first 80, because every new class is 80 kids. Then if we have exhausted all the Mount Vernon students, then we'll take Bronx students. But Mount Vernon students have preference by the state law. But the key is that the Bronx then pays us for those students. So our budget is whatever it is, $8 million. If you do the math, it's the amount of money from Mount Vernon times those Mount Vernon kids, and that's that part of the budget. Then times those Bronx kids, that's that part of the budget. It's actually a pretty efficient system in that way.
Your husband, who was a stickler for whatever, he said, "Deborah, please look in the camera, please."
Oh, okay, but the camera's up here. Okay, I have to adjust the camera. There you go. Sorry.
So that brings me up. So I sat in the executive committee, Mount Vernon NAACP executive committee meeting with the New York State chair, education chair. And one of the things she was explaining, and you were talking about the tuition and sending them with that, she was explaining on the state position, when you send that bill, I guess it is, for the tuition, the school district has to pay you first before they can do anything else. And that takes away from how they can operate and do some of the things they need to do.
Yeah, that's also, again, I'm sorry, I just have to first of all, AJ, for many years, when we first started, the school district didn't even pay us, and they didn't pay Yonkers, and they didn't pay the other places either. So that's that. And when you don't do that, then the money gets intercepted, it's called, and comes directly from the state. And there were many years when Mount Vernon, because of whatever their legal issues, whatever they were doing in the beginning of the charter school, and then I discovered they weren't paying the other places either. So but that's also that's a little bit of a red herring too. Again, we bill the state, the district on a pretty it's a set time. It's just a cash flow issue. It's not like I come and go, here, give us $8 million now before you do anything else. No, there's like, every other month we send a bill that's based on the amount of students that we have, and they write us a check. Like any other vendor.
What she was explaining, and again, I'm going by what I was told.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Is when that bill comes, that bill has to be paid first before the school does anything. Like that's a law or something, some kind of.
It's a law that the bill has to be paid first, but that's just part of your cash flow. You're like going to have to set up how you have to that. So we get paid before Con Ed. I mean, they have bills they have to pay. So I get it. Like, and so, but like, let's say the district didn't have the money, then they wouldn't. I guess what they're saying is that they have to pay us first. I'm trying to figure out the analogy. So then they can't pay the teachers. I mean, that's not how it works.
Well, that was one of the things when the New York State, she was explaining the New York State position.
Yeah.
And again, I would have to go through that meeting again. I wish I had wrote notes.
That's okay.
I'm kind of freestyling here.
And so am I. And I think that what she's getting at is this idea that that you have an obligation to pay a bill. I think that's what she's saying, but like I said, there were many years when this district didn't pay us. So, and if they don't pay within 90 days, like any vendor, like you do work with if your vendors don't pay you, then there's a process that's in the state law called the intercept process that we then can go to the state to get the money. And the thing is this, one thing I think that people don't realize is that we have, our students in a building. I also employ many people from Mount Vernon. My staff is very diverse. I have about 60% of the staff identify as people of color. I have a very high percentage of Black males on my staff. And a lot of my staff are from Yonkers, Mount Vernon, New Rochelle, local people. They deserve to be paid also. So, I mean, again, they pay us first. That sounds terrible, but they're human beings that work in my school. There are human children that are going to the school that are from Mount Vernon that need to get education.
Is there anything I didn't ask you that you want people to know?
No, I think that first of all, I would love to come to NAACP meeting, sometime. So like I'm if ever that opportunity exists.
I'm the vice president, but I will bring that up to my president and executive committee. I can't make that decision.
No.
I'm just saying I personally can't make that decision, but I will bring it up in our next executive committee meeting. No,
it's okay, because the thing is like, listen, we're I think what people should know is Monty Public Charter School is a community-based charter school, public school like any other public school, created as an opportunity, a way for parents to have choice in Mount Vernon. My objective is to create educational equity so that the kids in Mount Vernon would have access to quality education the same way the kids in Pelham do, the kids in Bronxville do, the kids in Scarsdale do. It shouldn't make a difference what your zip code is. That's all I'm about. And so that's what I want people to know.
And again, and I said it before, and I think some people just have a problem with why not, instead of starting another school, why not do what you need to do to help improve the actual public school system, the school district.
So I'll remind people that my husband was on the school board. I was on a PTA. I was on a PTA council. I'm a public school parent. I'm a public school person. I have been, my whole raison d'etre is public education. That's all it's ever been. And so this is the way that I've seen to be able to make a difference in the community, in the Mount Vernon community. So would it listen, maybe another way would be, I don't know, to be on the school board, did that. Work for the school district, sure, I could do that, but I'm doing that now in Amani, you know what I mean? So I get it. I hear what people are saying. I'm, like I said, I'm educational equity advocate, want to work together to make it all better. So want to partner with the school district in any way we can to help them. Oh, something I do want people to know, AJ, is that we do have an open house coming up on Wednesday from 4 to 6 for our kindergarten program, and anything open, because we're going to have fifth through eighth grade seats, but we also will be highlighting our K1 program. So if people would love to, I would love to, if people want to come by Amani on Wednesday from 4 to 6.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I thank you. I'm getting other texts that have nothing to do with this.
Oh, okay.
I thought this was a question for you, but someone was asking me about a young girl at one of the public schools, Williams School, that committed suicide or something.
Oh no.
Next week, did I hear about it? So but I thought that this was a question for you about somebody commit. So that's why I was reading it.
Gotcha. Yeah. No, listen, it's I just want to also, mention that people can also go to amaniCharter.org to get information about the school and the programs. But listen, AJ, education is something that's very near and dear to my heart. It's like what I do professionally for all my life. I worked in higher education. I, think my most important job is a mom. And so that part of that job is to shepherd my children through public education and be that advocate, that you have to be as a parent for your children. And then working in Mount Vernon, the public schools, as a public school parent, as a PTA council, on the PTA, with my husband on the school board, doing that in my new community where I live, and now starting Amani Public Charter School. That's really all I'm about. And so, and really, Amani Public Charter School is just created as a way to provide options and opportunity for families in Mount Vernon.
So I was just reminded that sometime in the past, I actually did a show with dealing with the charter schools from people from all different aspects. I don't remember because I do so many shows like that.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And where it was like people that were for and against and all of that. Mm-hmm. And they asked me would I consider doing another one. I don't know when I would do this, but if I do that, would you want to come on?
Sure.
And present your case and while the other people present, because again, I'm giving secondhand information of things that I'm told, and I just, like I said, I didn't have a list. I didn't write all the stuff down. I'm kind of freestyling a little bit of it. So, yeah. But I think a lot of the concerns that I heard, I think we covered. I'm sure there probably are some things that I forgot. Mm-hmm. People feel free to hit us at blackwestchester@gmail.com.
Yeah. And I would love to come on anytime, because I think it's about education and just understanding sort of people who have questions, come visit Amani. We're always there. But anytime, AJ, I'm here. Anytime you want, let me know.
Okay. Yeah. Any last words?
No, just thank you for this opportunity. I appreciate it. I love talking about education and, in Amani Public Charter School. And so, happy to be able to have this opportunity. So thank you. I appreciate it.
I may be contacting you again if I come, because I got to put all this together and then I got to get everybody. And then people don't understand. Doing that, you have to be the moderator, the referee, and you have to do, so I have to be ready for this. So it's not something you just do all willy-nilly. You know what I'm saying? You have No. You have to now control a whole bunch of different egos and personalities, and everybody wants to come to be heard, but not come to hear. Right. So those are very, I do those kind of forums every few and far in between, but when I do, I want to be ready for it. So
I hear what you're saying, and I also I'm kind of just freestyling you too, but I like to hear and listen, and so I would love to just be in a space, like I said, willing to come to NAACP just to be able to hear people's concerns. I think that's important.
I will definitely. I'm actually getting texts. We have an executive committee text group, and I'm actually getting texts now, so I will suggest that.
Excellent.
Yes. Well, thank you for coming through. And if everything is approved, again, say when the changes, what changes will be made and when.
So if everything's approved, then we'll be opening. We'll continue our 5-8, and then we'll be starting kindergarten and first grade in September, so that we would then be building up to be a K-8 school down the road.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's
Former
okay.
Congressman Jamal Bowman just hit me. I thought he was watching, and I thought he had a question.
Yeah, I just saw him at the library the other day.
Yes, actually,
Yeah.
yes, we were there. I just spoke
I
about
saw
that.
you. Yeah.
I spoke about that before you got on about him
Yeah.
donating his congressional papers.
Which I think is fantastic, and that team room is fantastic. And listen, like I said, I'm going to go back to the beginning, wanting to create like this really this vibrant community in that central part of town that's child centered, because I think the health of community really can really be tested by how we treat our children. And so creating a child centered sort of educational sort of hub in the center part of town, I think would make a big difference for Mount Vernon.
Absolutely. Again, contact information, website, or whatever. If people need to get in touch with you, they want to find out more about Amani if they have questions.
Sure. The website is www.amani-charter, AMANI-charter.org. And my email is dstern@amanicharter.org.
Okay, thank you very much. You have a good day. Thank you for your time.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure I will be in touch, because what we have a lot of people that watch live, but we have a lot of people who watch after the fact.
Okay.
And they give me a lot of questions. I was like, why wasn't you watching live? But anyway, so I may have maybe a follow-up or get someone, from one of the opposing sides and have a conversation.
Anytime. And hopefully we'll see you at our cabaret on March 10th. You come as our guest.
I will try. This is a very busy time for me with the books because of Black History Month and Women's History Month. So
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
Well, come through if you can.
I will definitely try. Definitely.
All right. Thank you so much, AJ.
Absolutely.
Okay. Bye.
Bye-bye. So that we're closing the show off early today. Again, my brother Damon wasn't here. This was the co-founder of Amani Charter School, Deborah Stern, and with everything that's going on, we invited her to come on the show and talk about the show. She will definitely come back on, or we'll have a panel on the whole charter school thing or something in the near future, if that's what people want to see. But until next week, again, this is the 23rd. You have about a week and a half if you would like to advertise in the Women's History Month issue of the newspaper. You can reach us at blackwestchester@gmail.com for ad rates. And, we're going to do a pretty special issue celebrating our Women's History Month. So if you want to be a part of that, you want to advertise in that, you want to help support that, please contact us. It, again, is advertisers and sponsors and people who make donations like you who help keep this free for everybody else. So, again, you see the things at the bottom. You can make donations if you don't have anything to advertise. Until next time, I'm out. This is AJ Woodson. You've just watched another episode of Black Westchester Presents the People Before Politics Radio. Peace.
22 million black victims of Americanism are waking up, and they're gaining a new political consciousness, becoming politically mature. And as they develop this political maturity, they're able to see the recent trends in these political elections. Any minority that has a block of votes that stick together is in a strategic position. Either way you go, that's who gets it. You're in a position to determine who go to the White House and who stay in the doghouse. You're the one who has that power. You and I have never seen democracy. All we've seen is hypocrisy. Today, and look around America, we see America not through the eyes of someone who has enjoyed the fruits of Americanism. We see America through the eyes of someone who has been the victim of Americanism.